written notice of this meeting. Freeholder Arter.
Present.
Freeholder Belgar.
Here.
Freeholder Howard.
Present.
Freeholder Schwartz.
Here.
And Freeholder Director Dom.
Here. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. At this time, I'll entertain a motion for approval of the regular public meeting minutes of April 24, 2013.
So moved.
Moved by Freeholder Howard. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Freeholder Belgar. Any discussion or corrections? Hearing none. All in favor, so indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Minutes are adopted. At this point in time, I'll entertain a motion for approval of the minutes of the regular public meeting of May 8, 2013.
So moved.
Moved by Freeholder Howard. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Freeholder Belgar. Any corrections or additions?
I do have a correction.
There you go.
On the second to last page, the fifth paragraph down, it says Freeholder Belgar said it was her understanding that it is the freeholder board holding up the mediation process and the negotiations that occurred. I just wanted to clarify. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to watch the video. I don't think it's been posted online yet. So I just wanted to make sure that what I said, perhaps it wasn't interpreted correctly. What I think I said, but I didn't get a chance to see it, is that it was my understanding that, or actually let me backtrack. I did not indicate that it was my understanding that the negotiations with BCIT were held up by the freeholder or the freeholder office. Rather, I indicated that I was not aware of this at the time of that meeting, our last meeting on May 8, 2013. In fact, it was at the meeting that I first heard that perhaps it was the freeholder board or the freeholder office holding this up, as indicated by members of the public, but I had no indication of that previously. So it was only what I learned at the meeting.
With that correction noted, any further additions to deletions?
Yes, I have a correction also. In first paragraph comments, it says Freeholder Schwartz went on record saying this was in regard to the BCIT contract. Freeholder Schwartz went on record saying she was upset and concerned by the situation that she finds herself in. I was concerned and upset by the situation that the BCIT teachers find themselves in.
Anything further? Hearing nothing. All in favor, so with the modifications, all in favor, so indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Minutes are adopted. At this point in time, I'll take a motion for approval of coverage sheet meeting minutes of April 24, 2013.
So moved.
Moved by Freeholder Howard. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Freeholder Belgar. Any additions, deletions, or corrections? Hearing none. All in favor, so indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Those minutes are adopted. Annually, before I start presentation awards here in Burlington County, and there is a committee that's assembled annually to select from what is really a quite remarkable pool of applicants and folks that are interested. I'm going to turn it over to Joe Lawson, our county historian, who runs this program and does an exceptional job.
And they're actually about to start those historic preservation awards, so if anyone is here for that, please go into the other room if you're here to receive an award.
People through local communities, municipalities, and historical societies to place nominations. And out of that pool today we have these 7 awards, and they're each in a different category. There's some pictures over here in case anybody wants to take a peek at these later, but some of them do lend themselves to visual aids, and so you might want to see what some of these places look like. We're going to start off with the first award, which is for adaptive historic preservation, adaptive use, and rehabilitation. And the award goes to the Wrightstown Grist Mill, 30 Railroad Avenue in Wrightstown. And the property owner is Dennis McDaniel. Now I'm going to call up Dennis and several other people who are associated with this project. But let me just tell you what it is first of all. Historically located across from the site of the Wrightstown Railroad station, which is no longer there, this building goes back to 1868. It was a steam-operated grist mill. I know the first time I went up there, I said, "Grist mill? Where's the water?" And it was one of those steam-operated grist mills. And so it was called the Davis Brothers Custom Milling Company. And Edwin Davis and his brother actually owned the grist mill, Edwin and Wilbur Davis. And Edwin happened to be the great-grandfather of Dennis McDaniel, who's here with us tonight to accept the award. And Dennis, Edwin died prematurely, and the business went out of the family. And years later, Dennis saw that mill sitting there, and he, as a boy, by the way, he did work for one of the owners that had it later on. But he decided that he would buy it and rehabilitate it for the company business. And so on December 1st, the great-grandson of Edwin Davis purchased the old grist mill, bringing it back into the family after 58 years. And he leased the property briefly. And then on May 12th, 2011, a complete rehabilitation for use as an office building and headquarters for the logistics and transportation operations of Synergy Enterprises, which serves the sweetener industry and primarily corn sweeteners, operated by Dennis McDaniel. So I'd like to have Dennis come forward, and with him, the architect. Let's have, first of all, Tom Harper, mayor of Wrightstown, is here, if he would come forward. Ed Ganzel, the general contractor. Eric Million, the architect. And then the McDaniel family is here. If they would all come in here and file in behind us, or wherever they can fit. And we'll make the presentation. Okay. The 213 Historic Preservation Award for Outstanding Accomplishment in Adaptive Use Rehabilitation, the Burlington County Board of Chosen Freeholders recognizes Dennis McDaniel for the rehabilitation of the Wrightstown grist mill. Dennis McDaniel, great-grandson of Edwin Davis, one of the original owners of the Davis steam-operated grist mill, constructed circa 1898, purchased the deteriorating mill and property in 1982, bringing it back into the family after 58 years. In 2011, Mr. McDaniel completely rehabilitated the historic structure for use as an office building and as headquarters for his company, Synergy Enterprises. Okay.
Takes a team to get it done. Well, thank you, Mr. Donnelly. Thank you, Freeholders, for doing this. It always helps to have a little encouragement with these projects. And I just want to recognize kind of the process and the people, because when I got this idea a few years ago, I'm sure I spoke to Mayor Harper, and he was very encouraging. And sometimes the local officials are not so encouraging. So thank you, Tom, for that. We then, I know I went to Ed Gangle then next. Ed, do you think we can do this? And we talked about price a little bit, and we threw some figures around. We didn't wind up doing it for that price. It seems these kind of projects take on a life of their own when you get into the plans and find your surprises in a big project. And then that's part of it. And then we got Eric Million, the architect, and Eric came up with the plan and the design. And his mission, as I recall what I said to you, Eric, was we want a 21st century building, but we don't want anybody to think it's a 21st century building. So, and it all worked out. So, and my wife was very active with the interior decorations and a lot of those decisions. And the kids have all worked there as well. So it's a group effort. Thanks again.
One of the reasons for these awards each year is to raise awareness of the public and local communities to continue to preserve these historic buildings for us. And that's one of the primary reasons for going to these efforts, to encourage people to submit nominees. Our next one is for a public structure, object, or site. The award goes to Woodland Township Historical Society for the rehabilitation of the Woodlawn Cemetery, Route 563 in Chatsworth. If we could have come forward, Carolyn Tice, the Vice President of the Woodland Historical Society, Clarence Tice, a trustee, and Diane Suey, who is the treasurer. Come forward, please. And I'll be telling the folks about, basically, in a summary form, what they did. This cemetery is right on the main drag through Chatsworth, and it was obscure. No one ever recognized what it was. Just a couple tombstones over there. Well, it had no identification. So the Historical Society and members of the community decided that they're going to make it stand out. And so they created a wrought iron archway over the entrance, and also did some fencing along the sides to match that. It was a community effort, cost about $18,000, and it was all done by private donations. So it's a fantastic effort to preserve the history of this very historic cemetery. So the whole community is to be commended for this. Paul? Okay, and I have a copy of it here. Let me just read the certificate, and you'll know. You got it, great.
The Woodland Township Historical Society initiated a beautification project funded by private donations aimed at cleaning up the historic community cemetery, documenting information about citizens interred there, and constructing a suitable and identifiable wrought iron entrance, lane, and fencing, thus raising the community awareness to the historical significance.
That's the way to do it, Joe, teamwork. Okay, it works better that way. All right, the next one is for archival records and documentation, and it goes to the Tabernacle Historical Society. If I could have Mary Ann Silvers and Ann Franson come forward, and I'll give you a little summary of the project. It's for cataloging and tagging historical items in the possession of the Tabernacle Historical Society. Here's a case where new members, brand new members of an older historical society came in and got right to work. They saw a need and they said, look, we have all these historical items, let's catalog them and let's do it very systematically. And since they're both ex-teachers, they knew exactly how to organize things. And so that's what they did. They created the system from scratch, and they cataloged all of the items in the Pepper House, which is a historic house on Carranza Road in Tabernacle, near the big crossroads in Tabernacle. And then they're going to continue on with the one-room schoolhouse that they have there, and other documents of the Tabernacle Historical Society. Great job.
Upon joining the Tabernacle Historical Society in 2011, new members Ann Branson, Mary Ann Silvers, and Peg Pitney saw a need and immediately went to work, meeting every Monday throughout the spring and summer of 2012 to claim, catalog, and tag artifacts and documents in the historic Pepper House on Carranza Road. They created a growth records cataloging system from scratch, which will serve the Historical Society and the residents of the Tabernacle with excellent records as they continue their efforts at the historical one-room schoolhouse and other locations.
Is Loretta Kelly in the room? That was the one we were waiting for. And then how about Mayor Hansel of Field? Oh, there you are. Okay. This award is for Mayor Hansel for his support of the White Hill Mansion. For those of you who are not familiar with this very historic building on the banks of the Delaware, it is being rejuvenated thanks to the work of a Friends of the White Hill Mansion Committee. And these people have gathered together and are attempting to restore this very